Tonight, News Channel 5 Investigates uncovers questions about how the TBI spent millions of dollars of your money.
At the center of that investigation, a multi-million-dollar airplane that we discovered has sometimes been used for the director's convenience. Our chief investigative reporter Phil Williams spent months fighting for answers. Phil.
Well, guys, when lawmakers provided the money last year to buy the plane, they specifically stated it was for search and rescue, criminal surveillance, and public safety. And there's no doubt it has been used for that. What you're about to see is the rest of the story.
Last runway 32 approaches Smyrna. 557 Pops area, yes.
This is one of the most closely guarded secrets of the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. A single-engine turboprop registered in a fictitious name.
Turn right, heading 330. Right to 330.
For weeks, the TBI stonewalled our requests for information, telling us at one point they were under no legal obligation to answer our questions, including questions about the TBI director's use of the plane.
I'd never even thought 1 minute about this plane being a plane for Mark Gwynn.
Finally, TBI Director Mark Gwynn agreed to sit down with us, and the Bureau eventually invited us to see the plane for ourselves. The aircraft, a Pilatus 12NG, is equipped with room for 6 passengers and high-tech cameras capable of conducting surveillance from high altitudes. Purchased at a cost to taxpayers of more than $10 million, the plane carries the director's personal touch, the tail number, his date of birth, 563, and his initials. Your dates of birth, your initials.
I didn't ask for that tail number. The pilots picked the tail number.
But you're the boss. You could have said, no, I don't think that's appropriate.
I could have if I thought somebody would think something bad about it. Had I thought that? Had I thought, wait a minute, somebody's going to say, that's bad, Mark. That shouldn't be on there? Absolutely.
Gwynn told us the main reason that the Pilatus was purchased was to provide backup for agents in potentially dangerous situations. One of those situations came when an undercover agent was shot and killed in Jackson in 2016 during a drug buy. The TBI director says the Pilatus crew was watching and able to lead a backup team straight to the shooter.
I think that person would have had a great opportunity of ambushing that surveillance team as they come in based on where he went after that.
So in that case, it made a real difference in the outcome.
It made a real difference. Absolutely. I think it saved lives.
The Pilatus is piloted by 2 TBI special agents who the Bureau says are on constant standby for Amber Alerts, kidnappings, and other emergencies. A TBI attorney also told us that when they aren't flying, they're assigned to work with a unit that specializes in computer-related crimes. Yet when we purchased flight records for the plane, we spotted destinations across the country that are served by commercial airlines. Many of those flights, the TBI says, were for criminal investigations, which they can't discuss. But in more than a dozen other cases, we discovered that the TBI director used the plane that carries his initials to avoid the hassle of flying commercial. And every time he did that, you paid for it. Why can't you fly commercial to save taxpayers' money?
And I do fly commercial. Fly commercial a lot.
Last September, Gwynn took the Pilatus to Washington for a syndicated TV show.
And he just happens to be in Washington, D.C. tonight.
Hosted by conservative commentator Armstrong Williams.
There was the topic of policing in America, dealing with officer-involved shootings.
But we checked the video. It shows that when Gwynn got there, he was asked just one question.
It's a sad day in our state. We're still trying to figure it out.
About the Antioch, Tennessee church shooting, a case that the TBI wasn't even investigating. The cost to taxpayers of that 4.5-hour round trip to Washington, based on the manufacturer's estimate of $616 an hour, was more than $2,600. We found round-trip commercial flights for less than $300.
It was simply, I was trying to be as efficient as I could with my time.
Did you look at what would be most efficient for the taxpayers?
You know, I guess when you have to look at that is, what do you think about is efficient for my time? What is my time worth?
On half a dozen flights, Tennessee taxpayers pay for Gwynn to fly to Atlanta to pick up the head of the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, to give him a lift to meetings in Washington, or to bring the 2 directors back home.
I was needing to meet with him. I just thought it was a great way that I wouldn't have to take a separate trip down there to meet with him, and then we'd go up to the meeting.
For just one of those trips in April 2016, the flight itself cost almost $3,600. The flight crew spent the night another $800. Gwen's explanation:
they felt that it was cheaper than flying back. That's the only reasoning I can give you, and it talks about that in the policy.
That June, you also paid for the two directors to fly to D.C. and back. Cost of the flight, almost $3,700. The two special agents spent 2 nights, another $1,600 waiting for Gwen. They also racked up more than $2,200 in overtime. Total cost to taxpayers, almost $7,600.
Is that the best use of TBI special agents? Sitting around for 2 days waiting on you?
Well, these agents that's their first responsibility, is the aviation unit. So it's not like they would be back here working cases or anything like that. That's their job.
Of course, that's different from what his staff told us. In the end, we were forced to purchase flight records from a flight tracking website because the TBI refused to show us all their logs. There are trips listed in those flight records where the TBI says they were related to criminal investigations, but they did not give us any proof. Even in cases where the TBI did give us flight logs, we discovered flights listed as 1-day trips. There were actually 2 or 3-day trips. We've got more online at newschannel5.com, and my investigation continues tomorrow night on News Channel 5 at 6. Rory?
Bill, thanks.